Today we're doing composition functions. Some of you probably already know how to do this, but maybe you haven't heard the name composition functions. So that means f compose g of x, or you're going to find f of g of x. That means you're going to substitute the inner function, g of x. So whatever the function g is, you're going to replace into the f of x function. So where x is, you're going to use the g function to replace that with. Same thing right here. If you're finding g compose f of x, you're finding the same thing. So you will find that the question is asking for the same thing. It might look like this. It might look like that. Either way, it's a composition function. Let's get straight to the point here. So we need to find f compose g. That's not a times. That's not a no. That's just a little open circle. That means f compose g of x. So we're going to substitute the inner function, g of x. So we're going to get g of x right there, and then you're going to plug it in right there. Okay? So when you're doing f compose g of x, I have x squared right here, but I will substitute with x squared. What? So the little boxed in x squared, I'm replacing that for that x right there. Okay, squared plus 6. What else goes here? So it's like the little box that I made around the g of x function. And then it goes around right there again. So where I had x, I'm substituting with x squared, or the g function. Okay, now you clean that up, make it pretty. You have a power raised to another power. You multiply, not add. 2 times 2 is 4. And then here you have 6x squared. Okay, so I like to start with an easy one. That's the main idea. Now, when you have some crazy rational functions right there, that can get a little icky, but you're smart, you can do it. You're going to follow the same idea. So you will have multiple parts on example 2 right here. So f compose g of x. So here we go. I will get the g function, and I will replace for this x right here. Ready? So I have right here f compose g of x. I have my function here, 6. And instead of writing x, I will write the function g of x, 1 over x. So 1 over x minus 7, because that's the whole function. Okay? Now right here, I need to find the common denominator between x and 1, which is going to be x. I have 1 on top. X divided by 1 is x. X times 7, 7x. Okay. When you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. So f compose g of x. I have 6 in the numerator. Multiply by the reciprocal right here. So you flip this thing upside down. X, 1 minus 7x. Clean that up, make it pretty. F compose g of x. It's just 6x over 1 minus 7x. This is just the first part. We're going to have 4 parts to example 2. So B part, I will find G, you can't see, just kidding. G compose F, not golf. So G compose F of X, I will use the G function, and when I see X, I will get the F of X function, and I'll replace this right there for X. Okay? 1 over, what is X? Well, X will be the F of X function. So if you want to write that, you can. I will, just because, what else am I doing? F of X function. The F of X function is this whole crazy thing right here. 6 over X minus 7. Okay? It's not as bad once you look at it. So G compose F of X. I have 1 in the numerator. Multiply by the reciprocal in the denominator. So flip this thing upside down. X minus 7 over 6. Okay? Clean that up. G compose f of x is just x minus 7 over 6 because you multiply by 1, you get the same thing. You get it. So part C, I will find f compose f of x. So f compose f of x. And this is, you're going to find this weird at first, but you'll get used to it. It's more often than you think. So I'm going to replace the function itself. So my f of x function is 6, x minus 7. So on the x, I will substitute with f of x minus 7. Okay, I have my function right here. So f of x is 6 over x minus 7. So now 6, f of x is 6 over x minus 7. Okay, I substituted that, and then minus 7. Some people like to color code this. If that works for you, go for it. Now I need to find the common denominator of the denominator. Woo! So leave 6 alone. Right here, I'm going to find the common denominator between x minus 7 and 1. And that would be x minus 7. 6 remains the same, of course. And then x minus 7 divided by 1 is x minus 7. And it goes right there. Some of you know the shortcut. Just use it. If it works for you, it works for you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is what works for me. Okay, f compose f of x. I have numerator right there. I'm going to clean this up. So I have 6 distribute negative 7. The denominator x minus 7 is still there. And this is the main fraction. Okay, we're getting somewhere here. Multiply by the reciprocal. 6 stays the same. Multiply by the reciprocal in the denominator. So x minus 7 is now the numerator. Divide that thing by negative 7x. 6 and 49 is 55. Okay, you can just leave it like that. Let me tell you. If you look at this and you're like, man, if I factor the denominator out, I will be able to simplify the rational. You have to simplify it. Right here, I looked at it for a couple seconds. I know it's not worth my time to try to factor it because I won't be able to simplify anything because it doesn't factor anyways. Okay, last one. D. You'll never believe what we're going to do. Yep. G compose G. So G compose G of x. Function G from the other page is 1 over x. And I will replace x with the function G of x. And the function G of x is 1 of x, 1 over x. Woo, too much. Right there. Okay, but this is going to be the easiest of them all. G compose G of x. I have 1 in the numerator. Multiply by the reciprocal. So x over 1. Simplify, because 1 divided by 1 is 1. G compose G of x. Ta-da! Just x. We did it, guys.